Welcome back, Officers Republic. It's your correspondent, Royal Police Chief APGAINS. I wanted to quickly touch on something I've been talking to some YouTubers, but also just kind of meandering in my own brain about. The crate raid is preface, CG if you're listening, which from what I know, you guys sometimes do and sometimes hate me too much to do it. So the raid itself is fun. Obviously, we're not talking about the raid itself because it's fun, but people are mad. I'm not going to talk about why they're mad because it's exhausted. I will say there is one good thing that has come from the raid reward system. Obviously, the total number of rewards you are getting is unsatisfactory, to say the least. The change they made was a step in the right direction, but of course they need to make continued strides to figure out how to kind of alleviate the problem. The one upside is, in a very niche case, you can very easily take characters from Gear 10 to Gear 12. Gear 0 to Gear 10 is the same, if not much worse. Gear 12 to Gear 13 is just as bad, if not worse, because you don't get full Gear 12 pieces from the raids. But for a very weird niche case, which is actually helpful right now for some people, I'll talk about who those people are, it's fairly easy to get characters from Gear 10 to Gear 12. Now, the characters you see listed here are obviously favorited for a very specific reason, for Leviathan, but what they share in common is that a week or two ago, they were all Gear 8, Gear 9, Gear 10, and now most of them are Gear 12 or approaching there, or could be there if I wanted to take them there. The reason this is because for that very weirdly specific area of, stun guns and just random stuff, you can buy large bulks of them with your raid currency, which makes it very easy to get those characters at Gear 12, which is good for multiple reasons. One is a lot of the characters that are useful in the raid are not characters that people would otherwise gear. Random mismatched Mandalorians, Old Republic, stuff like that. Stuff that where, from GAC purposes, not worth gearing, but if you can get 300,000-400,000 extra, damage in the raid, could help your guild and aggregate, could be a good thing, right? I would not upgrade these characters for the raid if they weren't already theoretically, possibly, maybe useful for the purposes of the Leviathan, and that's the main driving force. I don't want to sugarcoat it and tell you that I'm doing this for the raid. It's kind of like an added benefit. But it is incredibly easy to get characters like my HK and my Armor and my Bastila, who are just sitting perpetually at Gear 8, Gear 9, Gear 10, Gear 11, to get up to Gear 12. Bastila was like Gear 9, and now I can take her, fuck it. I'm going to, maybe not. I could take her to Gear 12, which would be great. Characters like Shorty, who are now accelerated rate, let's actually find out. Potentially, I'm going to get to a blockage at Gear 7, Gear 8, maybe Gear 9. And then likely a lot of the pieces that I would need. Oh, now this is a fucking straight up level blockage because she's level 69, not level 85. Let's continue the science. So I can take her to, this is a little extreme. I'm not going to go all the way here because I'm seeing a lot of important gear pieces, which I might have already accidentally spent. But a lot of the gear pieces, if I didn't have these, are things, not that, but they're just random. Let me find a good example. This is a newer character, so it's less applicable, but okay. Bad character to talk about because she's incredibly new and has very interesting. Let's talk, fucking Bastila, sure. Bastila, I could, if I wanted to, I think I already bought them. But I bought like 120 of them in like one fell swoop, and I use that to apply to a bunch of characters. So in very niche cases, the Gear 9, Gear 10, Gear 11 up to Gear 12 is a little bit more manageable because you can kind of surgically select. That sounds a little weird. You can select the gear to buy and stuff like that. So you're going to get more characters at Gear 12, which is going to be a similar problem. I notice I say problem and not great thing. CG hashtag fix your goddamn rewards. But it's the same thing that happened with accelerated rate, and the same reason why we don't have accelerated ships. Accelerated rate happens not as a catch-up mechanic, but because the more characters you can get to 7 stars quickly, the more desperate it feels gear-wise, right? Like if you have one character at 7 stars that you're working on, you farm that gear until they're there, and then you go and you farm another character. But if you can get 5 or 6 characters really quickly up to Gear 7 or 7 stars, now you need to Gear 12, Gear 13, depending on what you're farming. So many more characters, so now it's like, oh my god, I have 7 of these, instead of thinking, I'm closing my eyes and looking through the lens of, Candorous, you know, I can slowly work my way through the gear, but if I open my eyes bigger and I see every single character that I've favorited here, I'm now all of a sudden I'm thinking, holy shit, I need to start pumping out crystals from either my wallet, which I don't have on me. I would call CG with my wallet if I had it right now, or, you know, using your crystal reserves that you're saving for the Leviathan Marquee ships or whatever it may be, right? It's kind of the same thing here, right? I'm discovering that it's easy for me to gear 12, but not so easy for me to gear 13. And now where I used to just favorite like one character I was working on from 12 to 13, now I'm staring at so many, you know, little yellow part circle thingies around portraits that I'm starting to think subconsciously, hey, you know, maybe I should be dropping some crystals to get some of these gear pieces. The only problem is I don't exactly know what it is that I need to gear because the Leviathan requirements are going to come out for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And that's a whole separate issue of me just being in this weird emotional limbo. But I'm going to save you a couple of minutes of your time and just tell you to, you know what? Yeah, oh my God, it's late. It is late. Well, I guess it's so late it's technically early, but it's what, April? No, that screenshot on my phone is from April. It's May. You know, it's halfway through May. I'm going to say that this is must get 27,000 subscriber May. We need 700 more subscribers. Can I do that in half a month? Probably not. Let's just say that this is must get 27,000 subscriber May. So you guys know what you need to do. If you're not already subscribed, clearly you don't love me, which is something that you have in common with my parents. But I would really appreciate it. I don't know why I would appreciate it. The only person it benefits is me. And the only reason it benefits me is because it makes me feel better about myself. And I'm incredibly tired and incredibly sad. And, you know, maybe I want to feel good about myself. So, as always, I love you. And I will see you later. Subscribe.